From Significant, this is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. I'm Simon.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Roman.
And hopefully you know by now it's one big problem to crack in 1 hour, once a week. Roman, are you ready to start the clock?
I'm so ready.
We've been getting beef about people saying we start the clock too early. It should start until after we know the problem. But
oh, really?
I'm not ready to change formats yet.
No,
guys.
I mean, that just means the episode would go on longer. Yeah, ready.
Here we go.
I'm not.
Let's go.
Woo!
Okay, Jesse, you're hosting, right? We don't know, Roman, just for you that don't know. Roman and I don't know either what we're talking about yet. Only Jesse does. So let's crack something.
Wow. While you're both staring at me in a way, I feel like I don't usually sit in this seat. So now I feel a lot of
pressure. You're in the hot seat.
I feel a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, I think you're both going to laugh at this topic because it's somewhat of a, I was about to call it a personal problem, but that would probably send you both into a thought spiral for the next 30 seconds. But it is sort of a personal one. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. So I want to talk about what I like to call the millennial avoidance spiral, specifically why millennials don't go to the doctor and Gen Z, to be honest, and how we can convince people to go to the doctor. I've got a lot of data around this, but it's we've talked about this before to some degree. But yeah, it's pretty bad, actually. People it's not just me.
I thought it was just you.
No, this is the happiest day of my life because it's like I'm defending myself. I'm just one of many, you know?
Yeah.
It's not
Good
just me.
Good to
know.
Well, yeah.
Tell us about this.
Go ahead.
What is this?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the doctor problem, but we will eventually get into a little bit of a bigger conversation, I think, about overall avoidance around some day-to-day errands and like what's happening with that. But let's focus for now on the problem with doctor avoidance. That's sort of the surface level problem. So just a couple things to ground us. 84% of millennials and 82% of Gen Z delay preventative screenings. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I mean, there's a lot of different data sources out there. So I'm going to give you just a couple versions of it. But 9 out of 10 millennials don't schedule preventative doctor's visits, which is actually less than any other age group. ZocDoc has done a lot of research into this. I think ZocDoc is one of the brands that's actually trying to help people overcome this. I thought this was interesting too. Obviously, the numbers are a lot smaller, but 24% of Gen Z and 22% of millennials delay seeking care even when they're symptomatic. So I was talking about preventative care for the most part at the beginning here, but as you get into like, you're actually sick, you actually have a problem, sure, the number, the percentage goes down, but still almost a quarter of people don't go. Women are particularly bad at going, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. I thought it would be the opposite, to be honest.
Yep. And one thing I thought was really interesting is that Gen Z places more trust in peer-sourced advice and social media than they do in doctor advice, which is crazy.
It's a horrible, horrible rule of thumb.
Yes, well, 60% of them have said that they regretted a health decision based on inaccurate information that they received from a peer. But and then I'll just give you one other thing because I thought it was quite interesting that actually millennials report the lowest confidence in communicating effectively with physicians. So I think there's like
millennials do?
Mm-hmm. I'll admit that some of the research doesn't include Gen Z in the surveys, but we're comparing to Gen X to boomers. Sometimes millennials, the youngest generation in the research, and sometimes it includes Gen Z. But most of the data has shown Gen Z and millennial being pretty on par with each other in terms of not going to the doctor, not scheduling preventative care, not like what I find why I brought this topic, other than it's kind of funny because we've talked about it before. I never go to the doctor. even when symptomatic. But we're talking about two generations that have basically given the term self-care meaning. Like this is the boom of wellness, health span, longevity, self-care. Like all of these words basically were invented in these generations, yet they're not taking care of themselves. So I find that to be a fascinating, like sociological, societal problem. And you know, we could take this many directions because the question is, does the relationship with the doctor change when we have all of these wearables and access to information? Do we need to engage with generations differently? Do we need to re-educate people on like the role of a doctor versus the role of your wearable? Does the doctor need to feel more integrated into the wearable? Because right now they feel like separate experience. You know, there's so many things to talk about here, not just, it's not laziness, by the way.
Do we know why they don't go?
Yes. So there's many, many reasons. So people claim being too busy, overburdened. There is a lot of like just...
I agree with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
I even say I agree with that, but like I could see that.
Yes, you could see that. People are confused. People are confused about their healthcare.
Yeah.
They're like, I have it, but like, I don't know if I'm covered for this. And it's really confusing. And the way that you even get billed after the fact is confusing. And it feels like you owe money, but you don't. And it's very confusing for people.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of, I'm scared I'll find out that something is wrong.
Okay. That's more, generic human psychology versus just specific to US, that one, I think.
Yeah, it's not US specific, but yeah, people don't want you don't want to know. Not just the too busy, but generally like task. There is a lot of task aversion, and like, you know, we tend to delay some of the... They're
too busy self-caring to go to the doctor. But the longer you know how, I mean, you hear this a lot with even emails. People are like, I have an email to write and it's going to take me like 10 days to write it because these small things feel like little burdens. And then the longer you wait to do it, the heavier the task feels. But also this is a really interesting one, but comes up over and over and over and over again. They don't want to talk on the phone. They're like afraid to call. They don't want to call. They don't want to make the appointment. They don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, but ZocDoc lets you not talk to
Totally. There are, same with One Medical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I think there are things changing that, but it is still one of the common reasons that people won't go.
They're uncomfortable talking to people?
Don't want to talk on the phone.
So I imagine talking to a doctor in a doctor's office is probably
even worse.
Part and parcel to that?
Yep.
This is probably more Gen Z than millennials, but because millennials, a big chunk of millennials grew up without the internet yet, and they had to make phone calls.
A lot of millennials don't want to talk on the phone.
God,
it's crazy.
I'm a millennial.
Are you an elder millennial?
I'm on the back side. I'm in the back half, but I'm still a millennial. And even like my sisters, I have a sister who's like 8 years younger, and she still grew up without the internet. The first as a teenager, she still had to call her friends.
Right.
So it's like there's still a big chunk of that population who was taught how to make phone calls.
I'll give you another interesting sort of psychology behind it. So there's Anne Helen Peterson wrote a phenomenal article a couple years ago now. I mean, maybe I should have written it down. I can't remember what year it was, but it was the first time that I know now the word burnout is overused, but she really was the first one to establish the core concept of millennial burnout. And she wrote this phenomenal article talking about task avoidance, how much people were literally couldn't even think about how much people will spend ordering stuff online now and then not returning it. Like the idea of having to go to the post office to return something. There's like, when you're so burnt out at a macro level, these little things become so burdensome and hard for people to do. And like she talks about the demands of optimization culture, economic precarity, achievement pressure, all of this. It's not that people are flaking out on tasks because they're unmotivated, but because they're just sort of burned out in general. And one of the things that's interesting about it, this gets a little specific, but I'll just bring it up, is like there's so much we have access to so much information that even now choosing a doctor feels like something you have to research. And then there's like the perfection around it that you're like, okay, but how, people literally, they have fear of choosing the wrong doctor. And then you get stuck in like a analysis paralysis,
right?
Where you're like, okay, well, I've made the step where I'm trying to look into this, but now I just spent the last 45 minutes looking, and now I'm actually completely overwhelmed. I've achieved nothing, which, as you know, our little gamification brains don't like when we've achieved nothing. And now you're like, I'm just going to pour a glass of wine and try to do this again another day.
But that's contradictory to, I agree, but it's contradictory to the previous one. The task aversion thing and the satisfaction you get from achieving something, and like, basically it's contradictory that these two are both reasons. I mean,
these are,
because I think if you marketed, I was thinking about that as you were talking about task aversion, is like, and we all have like, it's like, I call it my tiny to-do list, and my to-do list is like everyone's to-do list. It's got like 225 line items in there, and it grows every day. But the satisfaction one gets from accomplishing, just doing a task, even if it's just
mowing your lawn,
going to UPS to drop a box from like a store, something that you want to return, that satisfaction is amazing.
So then you're starting to talk, you're getting into solutions here.
Now I'm getting into like yes, but my point was there's a contradiction between the task aversion reason, which is real, and then the last thing you mentioned, which I'm already forgetting because my jet lag brain is not functioning.
Fear of choosing the wrong
there was
doctor.
Another one. But anyway, there was one that was talking about the satisfaction of accomplishing something.
Yeah.
And it's like, focus on that. Like, get people to understand that accomplishing something is satisfying.
Like accomplishing things like you're not going to die and you can have a guarantee of that.
Not even just that. Make an appointment.
Right.
Just once you've...
Gamify the app.
You can check that off your to-do list.
Right.
You made the appointment you want today.
Yeah.
That appointment is made.
Yeah.
As somebody who really loves checking things off of a list, that doesn't work for me.
No, because you've never put it on your list. That's a different thing.
Well, that's true.
That's all we need to do is just put it on lists.
Okay, step one. Put it on the list.
It's a funny one for me because it feels this is hard to explain, but it feels like both, like I can understand the irrational and rational arguments. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can understand the, like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm like, I get that. And the like, oh, I'm just too busy. And like, I get that. You know, like it's like all of it. Like no one likes, okay, let's go all the way back, right? Even if you're good at going to the doctor, I don't think there's anyone who enjoys going to the doctor, right? And I know that's a weird sentence, but like, let's just talk about functionally. If you're like, I am a person who goes to the doctor well.
I mean, many people like it.
Many people, you think so?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Like,
I don't even understand what that means.
The people who are...
the act of going to the doctor?
I mean...
Unless you're like a optimized human, like, oh, I'm going to go find out today.
I don't know how you... I know it's called in English, but people who like suffer from over anxiety, over their health. Yeah, hypochondria. Generally speaking, they like going to the
doctor. Because
it's stress relief.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, that's a subsegment of the population. So keep.
So it's like this thing of like, if you were to like today be like, you need to figure out a way to make it more enjoyable to go to the doctors. I'm like, ooh, that's the tough one. Do you know what I mean?
So let's talk about that. What do you think we need to fix? Do we need to make it more enjoyable?
I don't think it's that.
I don't think it's that. Or is it getting people to understand the value of going to the doctors?
I don't even know if it's that. I know the value. I still don't go.
Okay, so you don't go to the doctor.
I haven't been in like 3 years. And I'm at an age where I'm supposed to go every year, guys.
Yeah, but if you got a little sick, you'd probably go. Not like as in I have a cold and whatever, but if you're like more than 3 days of fever, you'd probably go to the doctor.
I've had times in my life where very serious things were happening to me that my wife was like, "You got to go to the hospital," but I wasn't planning on it.
Okay.
So admittedly, I'm
the only guy who's actually
keeps up
on
with
your.
it. I don't go. I'm not good with my dentists. I'm not good with all this stuff.
Simon's falling apart.
I'm falling apart.
Yeah, but you have a good haircut.
I got a great haircut.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's peppering a lot right now.
Yeah. Hey, it counts for a lot.
It does.
It counts for a lot.
All right, so Simon, check. Good haircut.
But the thing is like, okay, like when you said like, what are the problems to it? It's like, okay, like, and I mean, I'm going to talk about some specific to America and some that aren't. But like, to your point, like finding a doctor with insurance in America is weird every time. Like you're like, oh, it's a network thing. Oh, it's not. And then all that stuff. That stuff. It sucks. And then after that, it's like going to a location and inevitably like trying to find it and all that stuff. Not fun. You know what I mean? And then you always get a time that's like, hey, how do you feel about like 10:15 on a Wednesday, which you're like, I got to make accommodations for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like all these things that sort of get in the, and I am not denying the benefits of going to see a doctor, nor am I talking anyone out of it. I am just simply saying that like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I agree.
So much of life has been spun around us now, right? Like it's been spun around us, and going to a doctor is not spun around you whatsoever. It's like drop everything and go there.
Yes.
And that's kind of culturally weird in the moment in time we live in.
Yes. I think that's really interesting. I mean, again, like I think ZocDoc and One Medical are trying to remove some of the friction in scheduling. And, you know, I think even, you hear it all the time. Like I only remember that I should probably go. I mean, I haven't been in, so like we're pushing on close to 10 years maybe, but that's fine. But I think about it and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll call. And then they're like, cool, well, we can get you in 6 weeks. And I'm like, oh, never mind.
No,
it's like totally not good.
Yeah.
But I think there are some brands that are trying to remove the friction of that, but that's just the scheduling part of it. All the other part of it, to your point, is it's still you going out of your way. Yeah. And you would think the value would be worth it. And you're there for what, like 20 minutes? Like it's not that big of a deal. But I don't know that people remember the real value of it. Because I think we're lost in the like I started to say it at the beginning. I think we're obsessed with these terms that are extremely healthcare medical specific.
They're very close.
But we think we know what they are and we think we're getting access to them through, our wearables, through information. But I think what I haven't heard from a wearable is talk about the integration of the data here and what your doctor can offer you.
I mean, that's one I'll skip something I had in mind for that. But there's another thing you're talking about that you've also talked about a lot, and I'm trying to tie them together, which is people are really bad at things that are like long-term things.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I think a doctor is a bit of that too, right? Yeah. Like it's one thing if you're like, okay, my thumb fell off, like I'll go to the doctor. You know what I mean? But if it's like life and health is more sort of quiet than that. It's like, I mean, you guys literally saw this with me recently where I was like, man, my leg's a mess. I can't run. And then I was like, I think I'm just going to like wait a little while and see if it goes away. You know what I mean? And that's not a good example because it's like,
it's a little different.
It was basically about, I'm not running as much as I want. It's not like, oh my God, my chest hurts every time I get up. But I think for the most part, a lot of people are like, well, I feel fine. Nothing's changed that much. Totally. I don't need to book an appointment.
But I mean, I don't know if that question's probably not going to get us anywhere, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do we see a difference in geos, places, countries, whatever, in actually health problems when people go more or less to the doctor?
That's a really good question. I didn't look into that. But
I'm sure some countries culturally are like super diligent.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to do the annual checkups of all the vitals and the blood test.
I think
like that's a Swedish thing.
Well, it's a really...
no judgment. I have no idea.
No, I just mean like they're
Lithuanian, maybe.
But this is interesting because you were talking about the payoff, the reward of like, okay, I checked it off my to-do list if it was even on your list in the first place. But I think that's interesting is when you actually go to the doctor, especially for preventative care, you would think a great outcome is like clean bill of health, great, and then you feel good. But actually, I wonder if it doesn't really give you that dopamine hit because you're like, okay, so why did I come here? Like I felt, I don't know.
I'll speak for myself because I'm the only one at this table that actually does the annual checkup. I'm a little overdue, maybe 18 months, but I'm not as crazy as you, about a decade late. When I get the basically what my doctor does, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere, they're like, yeah, if you don't get a call, everything's fine. But we'll email you a link to your lab results or whatever.
No. But
and then when there's no call,
you're happy.
I'm delighted.
Have you gotten a link? I've gotten a link to like look at the lab results.
Yeah,
and I'm not
lab results because I want to keep the data in case I need it later.
Not good at that.
And then if you want to have, whatever.
I'm not denying that.
Okay.
I'm saying that what Simon was saying is like people have this mindset where they're like, I feel fine. Yeah. So like, why do I need to go? And then maybe once you finally decide to go and then your results are fine, then you're like, see, I felt it like reinforces the belief you had in your mind because there's no sort of, there's no different experience or outcome. Of course I'd want to have a clean bill of health.
And on top of that, it's just enough of a pain in the ass for you to be like, see, it was fine and it was kind of a pain.
I'm just going to trust my gut.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just enough friction.
I understand this has been said to me many times by those who have encouraged me to change my behavior, that the whole idea is to have a baseline of information so that you've been getting your blood drawn for 10 years and then 1 year even you felt fine, but there was something off. Now we know, wait, that's different from normal. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what normal is for you, then you don't know
you can't
when
tell
something
what's good and bad. Yeah.
And I get that, but
you still don't care. Yeah.
Not motivation enough.
So back to so we're trying to get people to go to the doctor.
Get people to the doctor.
But
for a generation that cares so much about health, let's actually care about our health. That's the mission.
We were riffing on like what's the question, what's the reason behind it, right?
Yeah,
and we have a few.
Maybe. So what are the few that you have in mind?
It's a pain in the ass. Healthcare is kind of confusing. People don't like talking to people.
No, yeah, sorry. So I was talking about, at some point we talked about like the sub question to the question.
Yeah.
Is it because people don't see the value in knowing about their health?
I'll give you another one. Is it because people don't trust the healthcare system?
I was going to talk about trust in institutions. That was my next question to you.
I think we should. Because
I bet it's a part of it. I wouldn't... Let's keep going. Keep talking. Sorry. I don't want to cut off the conversation.
I think it's a big part of it. I really do. I don't think it's valid, but I think this is what happens when you have a lot of people, specifically on social, just like influencers who command a presence but might not have.
Like, here's 10 reasons why you should be drinking your urine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, injecting bleach.
I'll just tell you that Gen X, more likely to follow a doctor's instructions without question, like not questioning, higher provider trust. Millennials are more skeptical. They'll maybe go, but then research, or they'll research in advance. You know, you've heard that a lot, I'm sure, that like
the WebMD, it's like, oh, I got cancer.
Yeah. And then you come in and you're like, I read online and the doctors are probably like, for the love of God, please stop reading the internet. But they're researching what they heard. Maybe they go get a second opinion. You know, I think the idea of a second opinion really birthed with sort of the millennial generation.
Oh, they're making it so much harder on themselves.
I know. And then Gen Z is like,
second
I think I said it earlier.
Actually was my parents' generation. In France, second opinion was my parents' generation.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It was always
really
if something serious,
go get a second opinion. And then Gen Z is the least trusting, most likely to avoid that in-person care and rely on peers and social media.
Yeah, but also like, what do you want? Like what happened in the last, 10 years, 5 years of the institutions telling you don't get vaccinated and you're going to die if you get a vax, I think is not helping with the trust in institutions.
Totally.
Like the literal heads of states telling us, we got to defund vaccine development and we got to defund science. It's probably not going to help trust in an institution either.
But I wonder if that goes back to what you were saying, Simon, about you can sit here all day and talk about the big grand picture and talk about the large benefits of this and attack huge enemies like that and be like, that's false information. No, we're not interested in that level of information. Do you need to take it down to a very micro level and say to people, like, treat it like one activity?
So here's a tactical thing.
Like, go for it. I got three tactical ideas.
I have a very tactical thing. And again, I mean, you guys know I do that all the time. But my brain always goes to like cultural differences because I grew up in a different country. And I think, not medicine, but I think healthcare, for lack of a better word, in the US is very impersonal. And maybe it was different when you grew up in Pennsylvania. Maybe there was a family doctor that you knew by your first name. But I've been here 15 years and it is very impersonal. You're just a number in a file. I think that is a big barrier to getting people to the doctor. If you have an actual human relationship with someone who knows you, who will spend more than just 6 minutes with you, after like all the lovely people, staff and nurses and everyone's gone in and literally here, you spend like 5.5 minutes with a doctor tops. Like if they sat down with you and asked you questions about how you're doing and how's life and how are your kids and how's your job and just have just a human relationship with someone who cares about you and trying to, because then all of this is linked, right? Then if there's something actually in the data, it's important for them to know what's happening in your life. This never happens.
There's one time this happened in America, and that's why I want to ask if it was the same for you or not, which was when my wife was pregnant. The relationship with that doctor was very different than it was very personal. It was checking in and having conversations about life and this and like literally getting to know them on a more human level. And I remember it because it was so different. And frankly, we attended all of the appointments probably for very obvious reasons.
I don't know if that moment in people's lives falls in the bucket of not going to the doctor.
And I'm not saying it is. I'm just trying to find
I would say usually
what can we learn from that?
Usually there's already a relationship between the person who's pregnant and the doctor before the person gets pregnant. And then as this is a life event and obviously, like every single detail. So like suddenly I think even people who don't go to the doctor my assumption would change behavior on that one and would like go to all the appointments. You see what I mean? So it's a little different.
But what can we learn from that? That's the thing I'm trying to get at, because like to that point, when it's a different relationship, it's a completely different relationship with the doctor. And frankly, it was a more holistic relationship.
Well, I think, never been pregnant, so I have no idea, but I feel like part of what's different about that is you all have like a mutual thing.
There's a goal.
There's a goal.
Yeah.
There's like something you're all there to care for.
Yeah.
You're rallied around. There's something to focus on. It's not just like check in, see what's up. It's like you're all here for the care of that human being.
Sure.
And but that is kind of interesting, because what are you at the doctor for?
Well, and
what is the thing that we are mutually trying to care for? And I think that's where people talk about preventative healthcare is like, investment in future you, care about your future self. Sure, that language typically doesn't motivate people, but it is interesting when you start to think about yourself as something that you and the doctor are mutually like caring for.
Yeah. And just even like, and I'm just even talking about like the soft differences. Like I'm not
the conversation,
like literally like it is like it is interesting that the only time I had a doctor I knew anything about was that time, and how much that helped. You know what I mean? And are they trained differently? And I apologize if you're a doctor and you're like rolling your eyes in the back of your head over this conversation. I literally don't know, but it is just interesting how different that relationship was. And I can't, to your point, I can't speak to the fact that I'm like, and that's why I went to the doctor then. Like, I don't know if that's to be the case or not. I was just like, is there anything you could do with that? I guess.
It's the human relation. I think it's the curiosity, to building an actual relationship versus just like the having a feeling of like, dropping by a lab for 10 minutes.
I was also thinking about, I'm pretty sure we've
it's
talked
so
about
transactional.
this. Yeah. I can't remember when we were talking about this through another topic, but I also wonder if because people move around so much more than they used to, I don't know on average how many cities somebody lives in their lifetime now, but I would wager it's significantly more than, a couple generations ago. Every time you move, you have to completely start over, find new, even simple things like someone to cut your hair, and you have to redo it all over again. And I wonder if it's not just this avoidance of going to the doctor, but it's the fact that our lives are built differently than they used to be. And now you have to, every time you move, you have to completely start over.
And you got to find one, you got to see all that stuff.
And then you might not like that doctor, so then you have to find another one. And
I had a good one in San Francisco, and he was like a bit of a bro, similar in age to me. And he was like, just like a dude who was like, got him through a referral, and he was just like one of those guys who's just like, I'll just level with you. This is what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I appreciate that this is more like talking to a peer than like showing up and.
Which episode did we talk about this? Like your liver has left the conversation.
Oh yeah, your pancreas has left the conversation.
Yeah, because I do think there's a generational thing. Like when the Gen Z doctors, and they're probably here now.
They are,
they have a massive role to play to bring their generation to the doctor. Because like when you show up and you see someone who's like 2 generations above you, you're like,
and you guys like pull down your pants and you're like,
and do you really understand my life? But when you show up and see someone who's like your generation, there's that whole generation of younger doctors probably has a big role to play in bringing the people in.
He did like a few things that I was like, I'm really glad you did that. And I'll explain them to you after this because it's all health related stuff.
You can't do that.
That sounds personal.
You can't do that.
But there's a few simple things like for me, relationship with your doctor, you're totally right. If I was to again, if I'm playing God, if doctors could come to you in some way, shape, or form rather than you go to them, that would probably, I imagine, help a lot with this too.
Yeah.
And then the other one too is with health insurance.
Wait, I like that idea. Traveling doctor.
Well, that used to be the country doctor. The country doctor.
It's a massive thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I think you got to pay a premium for certain types of doctors to do that, but it's not for everyone. And then the other one that came to mind too was if insurance could set it up where, there are probably forms of insurance like this that was a little less here's your deductible and here's the network and here's your out of network. But if it was in more certain terms, if they said you, preventative care is included in this, and you have 3 preventative care checkups a year guaranteed.
Set up this way.
I hope that was the only other thing too, because that right away would probably, and I know I'm chipping away at the solution.
No, I think you have to.
But I think those are a few things that
just trying to make it easier.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, just try to make it easier for people to go. Drop the friction points.
So one of the friction points that we talked about is finding the right doctor. How do you make it easier to find the right doctor?
Dude,
I think it's really what's really tough and here is either you get the I have an appointment for you in 8 weeks, or you get the sure you want to come tomorrow. But the sure you want to come tomorrow feels like you're walking into an empty restaurant. And so it's how do you solve for that? And then when you get that you want to come in 10 weeks, you're like, are you kidding me? 10 weeks?
Has there ever been because I think at least for me, the only thing that I've ever seen the only filter in searching for a doctor is usually healthcare, the healthcare provider. Is it in network or not?
See, I go on.
And I'm just wondering if they're we're talking about personal relationship, and fair enough. Every doctor is also different, has a different style, personality. Maybe someone's a little more tough love. Maybe someone's a little more
totally.
and is there, is there like are there more layers to like the whatever, the Match.com
100%.
version of
this is how I actually search for doctors is I do sort of like first I look and see like
you don't
what
go.
do I cover? What am I know? I admit I'm a complicated man. First I look at like what am I covered by? And then underneath that, what I do is I look at literally the brands. Like I'm like, oh, UCLA Health, that's good. Okay, Cedars-Sinai. Okay,
no, but those
like,
are still qualifications, though.
But that's not still the hospital they're working out of. There's brand equity in that, in my mind.
No, but I'm talking about something different. Because we started this. I mean, I'm sure. I think that's an important filter too. But we started this talking about if you had if it was less transactional and more personal.
Yeah. Would
you feel more inclined to kind of build the habit? And I'm saying, well, what's going to make it more personal is like being like, all right, this doctor has a profile and they're like, I'm really into cracking jokes. And I'm like, I want a funny doctor. Like that's it. You know, what's the personality match is sort of what we're talking about. And I don't think that obviously that's not a critical filter for a doctor. You want to know their credentials
of course.
In or out of network, but finding the way that people look for therapists, honestly, follows a little bit more of that pattern of looking for the right therapist for you.
Do you look up like doctors' ratings and reviews and stuff?
So I was going to ask a question about that. I was going to go there. Why do you think doctors' reviews have never really worked? Like a million people have tried to do it.
Yeah,
well,
just like restaurant reviews. Increasingly, obviously, everybody's got their own sources. Blah blah. blah.
What do you mean they don't? They don't work?
I don't think it's encouraging necessarily people to choose a doctor over another versus other kinds of reviews.
Yeah, I do think or at least it's never built the cultural presence of, cultural's the wrong word, but like think about how big Yelp and Google reviews are in our culture and how often we use them. I don't think that doctor reviews have like been swallowed into that.
I agree. That's exactly my question.
You gave me Dr. Recco once. I remember that. The guy who just like cut to the chase.
Oh yeah. I still go see him.
Yeah. He was like, your kidneys have stopped working. I was like, well, that's not good.
Is it the guy in Santa Monica? Yeah. I love that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, older Persian dude.
Yeah.
Like straight to the point.
It's just like, this thing's messed up.
I love it. But actually, when I see him, it's like, he knows my wife and kids by first name and he asks for.
So you still go to him?
Yeah. That's the only reason why I go to him is that I feel like he's culturally, we're closer. Is less transactional. Lovely dude, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he was super good.
Like,
I don't know why I stopped going to him.
He's all So anyway, I don't know why. So why do
I want to stop us for 1 second? The cameras are shaking like crazy because you guys keep banging the table and they're like wobbling around.
Sorry.
All right. If anyone's watched the video up until now, put a comment in the YouTube and we'll see you if you're here with us.
Just wobbling.
So why do you think people don't? Why have doctor reviews never been a thing?
They don't. My experience with them is they don't solve for their intended purpose. Like I find it becomes paralysis by analysis even more. Where I'm like, oh, do I want the guy who went to Johns Hopkins or the one who went to like it's like it doesn't help me make the decision any clearer because I don't have a frame of reference from it, if that makes sense. Like if an Italian restaurant's a good restaurant and it's Italian and it's close and it has good looking food, I'm like, oh, that looks good. I want to try that. A doctor is still like, this guy's credentials. Yeah, this guy's credentials. He helped me. I liked him. I'm like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I wonder too, if I have no idea, but I wonder if it's easier. I mean, obviously with food reviews, you can be passionate on both ends. Like
no one's
it was
passionate
amazing
about their doctor.
Or it sucked. I wonder if it's easier to write about a really bad experience. Totally, but like, what is a good, other than like maybe the this doctor saved my life review, like the general experience, the like, hey, I went in, got a good preventative screening, I was good to go. That's just a boring 100%. Review. Like I just don't know that.
You're not even gonna bother review it.
Yeah, exactly. And and that is the ideal state. And I think that's really interesting.
Honestly, I think, I don't know. I think we need to talk about the value. We need to go back to the basics, I think. we need to talk about the value of going to the doctor.
Yes. Okay. So
And
that's
then-
good.
and
We've
then-
gone tight on
And then
interaction.
just like use modern channels to spread the world about the values.
Like, did you know if you go, okay, this is very unsexy stats, but did you know people who go to the doctors every day have
Every day.
every year have blank happen or something like that? Like just start.
and then have like a
And then say-
20-year-old influencer
Like, what's up?
do a video about, I met that guy and
It's
the
me.
doctor. And
Smash the subscribe button to watch more doctor trips with me.
it's so great.
Not a
Look
get
at
ready.
that. I got my blood drawn.
Instead of a
and I
get
feel
ready
so
with
great.
me, it's like go to the doctor
Go
with
to the
me.
doctor with me.
I mean, I'd probably watch it.
Pimp my dog.
Meet Dr. Brown.
Yeah, I still wouldn't go, but yeah.
But talk about the value of it. There is value. You
So
guys,
what are
there
the
is
stats?
value.
Yeah, what are the stats you could find that are enticing? I mean, I know we always talk about like make it sexy and stuff like that, but like I'm trying to go to, because like you're right. If you go, did you know people who go to the doctor once a year are 20% more likely to live longer? Everyone's like, I do not care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you could find a way to make it,
I mean, I don't know. Is
Interesting.
it the scare tactic or not? I don't know if this usually doesn't work. We know you touched on it. We talked about it several times. Like,
but that
people-
causes
when it's-
more aversion, doesn't it?
when it's about hypothetical long term, it doesn't work. But
Yeah.
or is it hypothetical short term? Is it like,
Yeah.
I went to the doc and that dog noticed this, and if I hadn't gone to the doc, like I'd be dead next year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yo, what's up? It's me.
What's up?
Almost died. Smash the subscribe button.
I mean, you joke, but we're not far from that. I definitely not only like the long-term thing we usually talk about not being a good motivator, but I do think the scare tactics here have the opposite effect
Yeah,
because
probably.
you would rather not know
Yeah.
the scary
Yeah.
thing. But I wonder if there's a bit of like
I'm just saying, think about it. Getting bad news. It's like, man, it would suck to get bad news.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bad news. But like, would I be motivated if somebody was like, hey, you should like, do you want to find out if you're winning at being healthy? I'd be like, kind of.
You want to make it a
I
game,
think that's what
right?
wearables have done a good job of doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's even, I'll break it down even further. It's what a Peloton leaderboard does.
Right.
Like I'm winning at being fit. Look at me.
Yeah,
I'm number
yeah,
one on the
yeah.
on the leaderboard. I don't want to know other people's stats, but I will tell you if I went to the doctor and they were like, man, like you've got the health of a 20-year-old, I'd be like, okay, this was exciting. This was worth the visit.
Your kidney's functioning.
Actually, I will tell you, I did actually go to the eye doctor not that long ago, and he told me that I had the eyes of someone in their 20s.
Oh, I got great eyes.
And I was
we
like-
should have a sight off. I'd be curious to see
no.
who could.
Well, can I wear my contacts?
Oh, but that doesn't count then. Eyes of the 20s, but you can't see.
And the eye health of someone in my 20s. And
What does that even
and
mean?
my
Yeah.
vision improved.
Well, that's good, but
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
I've
that's
never needed
miraculous.
contacts. So.
Yeah, okay, you win the sight
All
off.
right, side off one, Simon.
Damn it.
Okay, so then,
Forget it. I'm never going back
You're
to the eye
talking
doctor.
about, speaking to the benefits, finding an edge in benefits that makes it more enticing. We're circling something interesting.
Yeah, but
here.
I mean, again, we're talking about gamification.
Yeah, always. I know it's so sad, but it's true. Well, and actually I was
But it's
thinking
interesting because you were talking about it, but do you really believe what you just said? Because I think we've had a chance to talk about, new features that have launching in the wearables market, like Health Span, that like Whoop just launched,
Yeah.
and I remember,
Aura has a similar one.
yeah, Aura probably has a similar one. I remember one of us that I can't remember if it was you, Jesse, or you, were like, I don't want to know.
Yeah, I think that was me.
And you
Yeah.
see what I mean? And that's literally, that is kind of gamification, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, hey, if you really are healthy, you could be like 5 years younger.
Yeah. I just feel like
In your biological age.
I'm
Just so crazy.
I personally just feel like exhausted by health information in general.
Me
and
too.
I think it's had a negative
I-
effect on my
I've had a real
relationship with doctors.
I've had a real up and down relationship with
Yeah.
how much do I want to know about myself.
Yeah.
But doctors, it feels different to me. I can't explain it. It feels, and again, I'm probably of a different subset, but it feels a little more definitive to me. Like when a doctor's like, hey man, you should stop drinking beer. I'm like, I'm listening. You know what I mean?
But you don't go.
Yeah, I know.
This is a silly game.
I feel like this is a real chicken and egg here, isn't
cat
it?
And mouse. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if, I mean, obviously I brought this topic and I said it was personal, and I have thought in the last couple days as I was like doing some research, what would make me go? And unfortunately, go ahead.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Should we talk about road safety?
I was thinking about that because like there's those countries like New Zealand that did such a great job with stuff like that.
That's very
Australia,
interesting.
New Zealand, UK, France.
Yeah.
And it was the scare tactic. And we talked about this on another episode early on. It was like the cigarette packs, right? Like how
cancer,
cigarette consumption dropped
when
they started putting pictures of like black lungs and dead
horrible
people on
looking stuff,
right?
Yeah. Awful.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's like straight fucking like go in. Yeah, like really like I'm
really,
gonna scare
such a
you.
buzzkill.
You're gonna have nightmares about what I'm about to tell you if you don't.
No, that's interesting. Like
this is scary,
but like a PSA level where your seatbelt, don't litter, stop smoking, don't do drugs. Level tactic.
Go to the doctors or go to the doctors or die.
Go to the doctors or die of that thing you didn't know you had.
Yeah. Actually, I really like that idea.
It's probably not just PSA. It's probably like health insurance would probably be happy.
Totally.
Because if we don't have the data, right? We don't have the data to the question we asked earlier about, okay, does it increase longer term illness, diseases, situations, right? If it does, then the health insurance companies would benefit from like, hey, go to the doctor.
Well, even if it was
if it's preventative, then you don't need to pay for like, decades long treatments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. So you scare people. You think scare tactics?
Well, I don't know that it has to be scare, but I think doing like a public level safety campaign, I'm going to call it, because preventative is sort of safety. Yeah. I think it's interesting because I do think part of the problem is it's quite individual, right? Like I think people sometimes feel like, I mean, we entered this episode and you thought I was one of the only, like it was just a me problem that I just don't go to the doctor, but actually a lot of people don't. Yeah. And I think if you make it sort of feel mass, you begin to feel like this is all something we need to change together. Yeah. And I do wonder, I'm not saying like create a movement and like people will go, but it is actually interesting the group think that could begin to happen when everybody's like, oh, it's not just me. Oh, we're all like doing a really bad job adulting. Oh, okay. Well, like maybe we're all going to try to overcome this together.
There's something interesting in reframing the long-term problem differently. And you said something that just sparked something, which was like, go to a doctor today, save yourself $20,000 tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like there is something kind of, if you bring it to money or other places.
Yeah, that might work.
Where I start to go like, oh, that's interesting because I mean, this place runs on money. Spoiler alert, America. But it is that, right? Like if you said like, hey, if you go today, it'll cost $60. If you don't go today, it might cost you $100,000. You know what I mean? Like there's something there. I don't know if that's enough, but there's something there. Something interesting. Reframing the conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I was also thinking about the unfortunate truth, which is I think I personally have been very lucky in that every time I've had a problem, it has up until this point solved itself.
Right.
Like even in most injuries, except for like I broke my bone.
And did you know it and go right away or no?
Well,
no, you didn't know.
I knew there was a bad problem.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to have
How
to
old
go.
Were you? Or you don't have to, but like, were you younger?
Well, I tore
or
my tendon in half in my leg.
Was this in college?
This was post-college. This was like 12 years ago.
Wow.
It was bad. I knew it was bad and I knew I needed to go. But most other things have just like, they like solve themselves. And so I'm like, great, my body's miraculous. Like it'll just take care of itself.
Totally.
When it stops doing that, I think I'm going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
this is a horse of a different color.
I bet you that's very common.
Yeah.
I bet you that's very, because I have the exact same thing.
Says the guy who doesn't go to the doctor.
100. My wife is like, now when you get like a weird lump, like that's a lot more serious than it was 10 years ago, sort of thing. But I'm like, well, it's always gone away up until now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I do wonder if there's a little bit of like, because another tactic that, like, I liked your money example, and another thing that also works, and I can't think of a perfect example, is like a comparative thing. Like, you're not this idiotic about blank. Why are you being such an idiot about this? And then you're like,
good point.
That's true. That's true. Because I do think that, I mean, any young person thinks they're invincible, and then that wanes with time. But some people like me think
what did we talk about in the financial literacy episode?
About solutions?
Yeah.
That is when we talked about your pancreas has left the conversation.
Like talking about money, not finance.
Yeah. And talking in real terms and talking
that's true.
like, there's also a bit about that.
Yeah.
That I think we briefly touched on when we said, okay, the Gen Z generation of doctors can help solve that problem, because I think there is a thing about
medical.
The brand of doctor.
Okay, this is actually interesting.
We didn't talk about the brand of doctor.
Wait, yes, actually, because I think one of the things wearables have done a great job at is making it feel tech and sexy and like modern.
Yeah.
And the same way we said there's a
your urine is sexy.
Yeah, woo! There's a just like we said in the financial episode, there's a difference between finance and money.
Yeah.
There is a difference between medical and health.
Yeah.
And I think we love talking about health.
Yeah, exactly.
But medical is like, and I think about even when I go into still to this day, they've got those sterile pamphlets, and like, I'm not going to read that. Like, what is this? Every medical website is sort of a nightmare to look at. Like, again, I don't know that these alone would motivate somebody to go, but it feels like the medical industry doesn't have that same modern appeal as the health industry, which is now very social.
Well,
forward.
I mean, the health and wellness industry does a really good job, and I don't know where this goes, but like does a really good job of feeling like intimate and communal. And medical specifically, most practices have no interest in prioritizing those two things whatsoever.
Okay, what is a I think the health versus medical conversation, I think, is super, super interesting.
Yeah.
What's another industry that's found a way to give a massive boost of rejuvenation, regardless of the industry, to cater to a younger generation?
Say that again?
What's another industry that's changed their service, I guess, to cater to a different generation? Because like, I was trying to think about retail, but no, they haven't really cracked it yet, generally speaking. But there's some improvement in retail experience. We talked about it. Some people are trying, but no one really seems to be trying in the health space.
Yeah.
Like, change the experience.
Well, okay,
make it more interesting to go.
Yeah.
I was
so there's a human relationship.
This is
what is the other thing? What other conversations do you want to have that are maybe
so there have been some.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking about this with a friend who I know is an avid listener of this podcast. And she was talking about, there was like was it in Santa Monica or Culver? Like there was like a luxury doctor office.
Yeah.
It shut down now.
Yeah. I
don't know why, but it was sort of very like change the experience. Have you heard of the brand Tia?
Yes.
I think they're trying really hard, and that's the physical space. Like it's supposed to be very.
What's Tia?
It's specifically for women to go to the doctor. Actually, it's the one thing that I have considered.
It's a new type of doctor network.
Yes,
it's a doctor's network. It's a physical space. Like you're going to a retail.
See, that's experience.
Tia.
I wrote down cafe. I was like, oh, is there like a medical cafe? And again, not right. But this idea of reframing that space itself is really interesting.
Yeah. I've always been curious about going to Tia, but it's the thing that's, and I know this is contradictory to everything I've said, but then you're at that line where you're like, but is it trustworthy?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Is it too, like,
because it feels like
social media,
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like tech.
Yeah.
So I think it's on the right The intention is right.
Yeah,
the execution probably not yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's like, see, like you even just said, I could actually consider going there. It's like, it's changed. Like, this is worthy of another hour of conversation, but what should the modern brand of health be?
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, that is a conversation we need to have.
That is the better
Like,
question.
let me give you
That's
an
the real
example.
brief.
Like, if there
Good
was
job.
if there was a to that point, if there was like let's call it a medical network where they said, all right, cool, welcome to the significant medical, and first thing you need to do is we're just going to mail you a package, and you just like spit in a cup, do this, do that, and get all your stuff, send it off to us, and then we'll tell you when you need to come in or not come in. And it'll be like mostly just kind of keeping track of things and all of this sort of, you know what I mean? Like right away, I'm like, oh, there's so many different ways to crack this.
You want to simplify
I think I want to, I keep going to, you're both thinking higher and better than me. I keep going to like,
You just
what
wanna
are just
spit
the
in a
simple
cup.
pain in the ass things that we could overcome very quickly.
Yeah,
I
but
think you
this
have to do
is
both.
what we got to answer
Yeah,
when we
exactly.
try to rebrand just the brand of health and doctors. You want to simplify. I want to humanize.
Exactly.
I want someone whom I know their first name, they know mine.
Yeah.
It's always my contact. I can text them.
Yeah.
I can.
I thought
whatever.
about that. I was just like, oh, those poor doctors.
I can. Whatever. Their problem. There's a business in everything.
Well, there's also
Like-
get an AI chatbot.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not cancer.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
That's how you get in trouble, probably.
That is how you get in trouble the one time.
Hashtag it's not cancer.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I think I think you're right. This is like future episode as a bridge off of this starter episode.
How do you
Is
build
really
the
how do you
modern-
shift the medical industry into the health industry?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
take
that's so interesting.
Take the credibility of that medical industry, but take the experience of the health and wellness industry and the social
Oh man.
component of
My
it.
brain is exploding right now.
I know.
Because you're right. Like the health and wellness industry has sort of had less integrity and science to stand on, but has somehow find a way to make a way more appealing product.
Totally.
Yeah, but how? And we talked about it in the last at least 2 episodes. How? Vanity.
Yeah.
Like again, vanity's here. It's like, come with us and you'll look hot. Eat
Yeah,
vegetables,
I know.
look hot. Like, come do some yoga and you'll look hot. And get the green juice and you'll look hot. And it's again like vanity's back. So I don't know if vanity's a strategy on like something as
Well, it's funny now. 'cause
potentially
it's-
very serious.
Go to the doctor and look hot.
Look hot.
Yeah, probably
Go to the doctor and
not,
look hot.
because,
I don't
it's
think so.
potentially
Yeah,
very serious.
exactly.
But the health and wellness, the wellness thing was a lot of vanity.
Yeah, it's true.
You're right. Like, and I'm not saying like we'll just steal that playbook, but because you bring up a really good point too, which is like there is an inherent authority you don't want to get rid of either.
100%.
You want people to be like, okay, these people know what they're doing and they're smarter than me. But for example, and I'm just, again, let's play God for a second. Is there a world where you have some sort of system that when you check in to the environment, the people that you first talk to may not be a doctor unless it's something that is as serious as requiring a doctor or something like that? And I know you have nurses and I know you have stuff like that, but it's an inherently different experience, if you will. You know what I mean? It's like talking to, I don't know, like someone at Sephora about your makeup sort of thing or something like that. Like I'm not trivializing the medical profession whatsoever. I'm just going wide and weird to think about like, what could you do differently there to make it easier for people to just walk in the door?
Or who could do it?
Or who could do it?
You did the Sephora example. My brain went to Nike.
Right.
When did we start trusting Nike to give us running coaches
Exactly.
as opposed to running shoes?
Exactly.
Right. So it's like,
Very interesting.
like who could do that?
Yeah.
That we would listen to and follow for like really, really serious advice.
And then of course, when something more serious happens, you got to go into that room. The doctor will come talk to you.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other thing. But even just the etiquette of a doctor's appointment, there's probably a billion things you could do there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is really interesting.
And we did not even talk about regulation, which
and we haven't talked.
we probably don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because there's like if we did another episode of like how to change the brand of health,
We would need
we would probably
need a professional.
90% of what we'd say would be like, meh.
Yeah, there'd just be a lawyer here just saying redacted every 5 seconds.
That's actually a really funny episode idea.
Yeah.
Or somebody with like a taboo buzzer, you know, the game Taboo, just sitting in the corner, like, no. Okay, we have about a minute left. I'll wrap us up because I feel like otherwise we'll just take off on part 2 of this episode. But, you know, I think the most important thing is probably where we landed here, which is this started as a question of how do you get younger generations to go to the doctor more? And I think we landed on a better question, which is how do you rebrand and evolve the medical industry into the modern health industry? And I think that's super important because, I think you said it, Simon. There are small and big things at play. Yeah. We can talk about the friction and ease of scheduling, but we can also talk about the overall brand of the doctor industry and bringing that into some more, like, not using the credibility of it and leaning in on the trust of it, but modernizing it into the health industry. And I think that's super. I think that's honestly that's the critical question to answer.
Yeah.
There's our timer. 1 hour. I think I would leave it there. Gamification, we always talk about. I think helping people understand the value of the doctor would probably be part of rebranding the medical industry. What am I forgetting? I think that's really the core of it. So I think I know the answer here, but Simon, do you think we cracked it?
No, we didn't crack it. But I mean, like, I think this is like a good example of like how we work together when we're working together at our best, which is like you come in on one problem and then you think bigger about what that problem actually means beyond that problem.
Yeah.
And like I could have lived in this last like 15 minutes for 4 more hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? And that was the part where I started going like, oh, so like we didn't crack it, but I think we cracked it open.
Yeah. We cracked the problem.
Yeah.
I think.
Nice. Look at the right.
Yeah.
We cracked it open.
Yeah.
That's good. Roman?
No, I'm with Simon. Yeah, totally.
Same. I agree.
I agree. I think it's one of those where I'm going to be, driving home tonight and driving back tomorrow and be like, wait, why did we not talk about this?
Yeah.
This and that.
Totally.
It's a really good topic and it's a really hard one, but we're far away from cracking.
I had like one of those moments of like where my brain just went, you know what I mean? Like it was something like, oh, now we're talking about something bigger sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's always exciting.
I agree. And time will tell if you and I, Simon, ever go to the doctor. See what happens.
Cool. Exactly. Thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoyed it. And apologies for the wobbly cameras if they are, in fact, super wobbly. I hope not. But if you would like to reach us, please do. Oh, I say that at the end anyways already.
Yeah, we got it covered.
All right, great.
Laters.
Well, we'll see you next time on another episode of Crack It an Hour. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.